Welcome, dear readers, to Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed but not read by yours truly. My name is Khaki.
And I'm Kay, and remember, we only judge a book by its cover.
And we find ourselves once more amid the towering stacks of your library with the tiny skittering claws of the Velibraraptors clattering overhead.
It seems to be more than there were before. Are they just more visible, or...?
So when we were occupying the visitor center, and I'm just catching the readers up on the unnecessary lore for this literary review podcast, but when we occupied the visitor center, I got a fairly decent head count, because then they were all wearing different costumes.
Yes.
So I think you're right. I think there's more of them than there were before.
Okay, well, might have been the new young or joining the herd or something like that.
They all seem to be the same size. I don't quite understand it yet.
Yeah, but it's also the same thing with pigeons. You never see baby pigeons.
Don't you?
Have you ever seen a baby pigeon?
Well, no. Okay.
Well, there you go.
No, but I've never seen a baby rhinoceros. I know that they have. I know that they have babies.
I've seen photos of baby rhinoceros. They're small. They're like tiny little armored tanks, about dog-sized.
I've seen pictures of baby herons, though.
Oh, they're scary as fuck.
Yeah. So I've been dealing with another mystery.
Oh.
So the bear traps.
Yes.
Because
There's no bears in the library.
Well, hello. Her Majesty, the little librarianess, decided that now is the time for her guest appearance.
Yes, make a little wander by.
You did previously mention that bear season.
Yes, lasted until November.
Yeah,
yes.
from the end of August, and this was way back when in episode 15, I believe, when I came across some of these bear traps. You'd also mentioned that there weren't any salmon in the water cooler. Now that one I've been able to verify.
Yes.
So far, at least none that I've tasted.
Well, you probably taste the roe. Yeah, I think they don't fit through the spout. And the delivery company has like issues with keeping them alive during transportation.
Yeah. You don't bottle salmon.
Tin them, but you don't bottle them.
So what's up with as the permanent occupant of your bazaar and
guest.
Library? Yeah, guest. That's the euphemism.
Yes.
That's right. And also as the new junior librarian.
Yeah.
What should how do I deal with bear season?
It depends if it's a black bear or a grizzly bear.
Right. Are they going to be black bears or grizzly bears? So question one.
Well, like if it's a black bear, then you just stomp your feet, make a lot of noise. And
they're kind of honey bear.
And they tend to go away. If there's a grizzly bear, there's a can of anti-bear spray around here somewhere. You might want to consider using that. It's made with very hot and spicy things. And it's
ghost pepper spray.
Yeah, so if you find any bear scat, then you can tell, because like the... black bear stuff is like usually berries and stuff like that, and the grizzly bear stuff tastes a lot like hot peppers.
Tastes a lot like hot peppers, you're saying. Well, I can see what you're suggesting there, and I'm going to politely decline because I'm a junior librarian and not a biologist. So I will just leave that to the appropriate. Speaking of scat, by the way, do you notice how clean the shelves are?
Yes.
Yeah.
Have your toilets trained to Velibraraptors?
Yes.
Oh wow.
Yes. I think that's fair.
That was a facetious comment, but how did you manage that?
Well, okay, so they're very sort of theatrical little creatures.
Yes, we've noticed.
And they've been really enjoying the essentially Velibraraptor habit trail that I've created for them up on the network of ladders connecting the various shelves. And well, they've been inconvenienced by the accumulation of guano as well.
Oh, okay. That's very considerate of you notice that. Like, seems to hint to a certain level of intelligence. I mean, okay, we already knew they were far more intelligent than they seem to be, but yeah.
Yeah. And so I sort of proposed through a personal demonstration, sorry about that, to designate a particular area as the latrine.
Do I want to know where that area is?
No, you'll know.
Do we have to put up warning signs like biological hazard?
Oh, I think it's completely self-evident. I don't think any kind of...
Which books are now become effectively inaccessible?
Look, it's the 17th century Norwegian romances, so I don't think we're losing too much.
Okay, there's a few people who might get upset at that, but I don't think it's going to be a big issue.
I figured that it's better to concentrate the problem in one location, and maybe we can have a chat with the gnomes about...
Yes.
Yeah.
Although they'll probably demand a pay increase if they have to deal with that.
How?
That's an interesting question as well.
Because they just subtract money from your bank account now, don't they?
Yeah, so more money might start disappearing. You know, they direct debit me, so, it's like, I'll notice if, the numbers start going up.
Something to worry about for another occasion. Right now, I think that the Velibraraptor situation is dealt with.
Okay.
With a slight sacrifice that I think is entirely manageable, and we can hopefully improve on that.
Let's try and focus on that, yes.
So am I likely to encounter a bear?
Only once.
No. Unless it's a black bear and I make a lot of noise and I shoot him away with one of the brooms. But how likely is a bear encounter to occur in your library?
I can't say there have been that many.
What's many? One? Any is many to me.
Yeah, okay.
When it comes to browsing libraries and encountering
I would be
bears.
lying said if it had never occurred. So yes, it has occurred once.
Okay, good.
At least. There have been a few people gone missing. I'm not sure if that was due to bears or other.
Including Decimal Dewey.
Oh, yes.
Whose remains I once found.
Oh, did you know? Where was that?
At the time, I didn't navigate very well, so
that's a shame.
I never encountered those bones again.
Okay.
Picked clean or rotted away, I don't know. But he had a little pith helmet, so he was clearly an explorer.
It can take a long time for stuff to decay here, and the humidity control is pretty good in the library.
Yeah.
I mean, it's neck required for the book. It's not too dry here, so mummification doesn't really occur.
Oh.
Because you have to keep it at that optimal point. If it's too dry, the books dry out. If it's too wet, then everything starts rotting, and you don't want that either.
Yeah, you want to be in sort of a humidity Goldilocks zone.
Exactly. And of course, there's the Velibraraptors who are not beyond a little bit of carrion eating.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of that.
As the crows say, carrion regardless.
Yes. Keep calm and carry on.
I think those can be attributed to Mr. Terry Pratchett.
Is it?
Yeah, I think so.
So, speaking of dinosaurs, I think that's very much in theme with this week's book.
Yes, it is.
So today's book is Brett Davis's Two Tiny Claws.
I've been looking forward to this one for so long. Because for the readers at home, if you look down at your podcasting device, you should be seeing the cover of today's book. And if not, you can check the show notes for an image and a link. Wow, it's been a while since I remembered to say that.
At the beginning.
And I think you really, really want to look at this one because it is fantastic. So it says Brett Davis at the top, and then Two Tiny Claws, and then there's a Tyrannosaurus Rex with a little saddle on it, and on the saddle is a cowboy, and the tagline is "Old fossils never die."
Yep.
And this is great. This is already my favorite book. I just love this. I had my Velibraraptor bestie at my side while I was reading the book in preparation. And
they weren't particularly troubled by this book because, we wouldn't want a Jurassic Park scenario repetition.
No, I think we've established that their ire toward Jurassic Park was
the DNA boy. Yes,
the DNA demon that was living inside it, and not the depiction of dinosaurs. They were quite enthusiastic.
Good.
A little bit intimidated by the size of this T-Rex well, they don't know that in relation to the human.
Maybe the human's very small.
That's also a possibility.
Yes.
That's something that I definitely entertained. So I haven't completed it yet, unfortunately, in time for the episode. But I was trying to make it like a little doll for Guinevere to ride around with.
Oh, that's
so
charming.
She can have her own
have a little stomping about and
exactly
doing her little T-Rex impersonation, and she would be a Tinosaurus Rex, in fact.
Yes. Well, yeah. I mean, I've been calling them Velibraraptors. We don't know the official Linnaeus name.
But Linnaeus wasn't around back then.
Tinosaurus Rex. I love it. Yes, that's what it is.
By the way, do you know why a T-Rex can't clap his hands?
No.
Because it's extinct.
Wow. We're going to have a lot of these this episode, I think. I've got to say, what I've seen of Tyrannosaur remains in museums, they are great big hulking beast, a lot bigger than the one appears to be on this cover.
This one's about Tauntaun sized, I would say.
Tauntaun's a good one.
Yeah.
A big heckin' chonker of a Tauntaun.
I mean, okay,
I've seen about horses that size in terms of body volume. No, but he's a biped.
Yeah, right, that's true. But you can't see his lower half on the image. The shoulders would be at least head high on a man.
Oh, like so. So yeah. Oh, how do you normally indicate that? How many hands high a horse is at the shoulder, or the fetlocks, or the withers, or whatever?
Yeah,
they're
but
called.
very few horses are as tall as a person at the shoulders. I mean, it happens. Just a few.
Well, you're also a very tall person.
Well, that too. But yeah.
Oh, Frisians are pretty big.
True.
They grow them big up north.
Mules are incredibly huge.
Are they?
Yes. I was sorry, not mules, the other ones. Mules.
There's a donkey mother, horse dad, and there's horse mother and a donkey dad, and they produce different types of animals.
Right. It's the big ones that they use for hauling trees out of the forest.
Oh yeah.
And they're enormous
because they've got horse strength and donkey amenability.
I was going to say tenacity.
Well, that too, but they've got a casual attitude.
Being as stubborn as a mule is another expression that you hear often.
Well, that actually. Maybe this is a hybrid as well on the cover here.
Oh, yes.
Between a regular, T-Rex.
Okay, we're dealing with a world in which the Great Plains of North America have wild, roaming herds of dinosaurs.
Yes.
It is cowboy culture with dinosaurs.
Such a good concept that when the European invaders arrived to settle America, they found, to their surprise, a pretty interesting ecosystem waiting for them that was a lot more...
Well, prehistoric. by European standards. Yes, I mean the natives living in harmony with nature, using every part of the dinosaur.
Yes, as was demonstrated on the Brontho jump.
The Brontho jump.
Yes, so we know buffalo jumps as those cliff faces.
Oh, right, yeah, where they ran them off, where they ran the herd off the end of the cliff.
Yeah, I've done some research into this, and it's absolutely fascinating how this used to be done in the pre-horse era, because the first peoples of America, they didn't have horses until the Europeans arrived in the 1700s. Yeah.
Oh, I thought that horses were like native to North America.
Oh, they are not. Those periods, like dogs, were the more common companion, and a lot of native peoples refer to the pre-1700s as the dog days of their civilization, because all their practices were different.
I had no idea that was I assumed they had ponies or something else.
Nope.
Or something like that.
It's a European. It's an invasive species, more or less, right?
Yeah.
The horses then later went feral, as they were hence becoming mustangs. Yes. Mustanga, sort of. I believe that's Spanish for feral. Ooh, not entirely sure.
Sounds plausible.
I mean, even today, all horses are domestic because the wild horses are largely extinct, except for the conics. I think we have some herds of conic.
They're artificially wild,
reconstituted from older stock. But yes, so in the dog days, they wouldn't have like a cavalry to drive the very aggressive buffalo in the direction that they wanted to send them. I mean, they'd obviously use dogs, but they'd also use costumes. There is some indication that there was a role among some tribes, people who would dress as wolves or coyotes with pelts.
Early furries,
kind of. And then also like imitate their body language as well, and like try to imitate wolves chasing them, so that
the buffalo would be like, oh shit, wolves, and then try to and then run off and hopefully jump off the cliff.
The flight instinct, yeah.
I don't think Mr. Davis was aware of this, because he's clearly got everybody riding around the dinosaurs, which are
yeah, I like that, because if they existed like that and they were so domesticable, then of course the native peoples would have already done that.
Exactly, and then it's only after the Europeans started moving and that they started copying that and went like, well, yeah, we can do that with a horse, but we can also ride one of those cool critters.
Yeah,
and apparently
it works
really well, like having a saddle on a smaller Tyrannosaurus Rex. I guess, I mean, they were probably bred to be the optimal size for riding and herding.
I do have some reservations for the... no. Because the problem that I see here is that the Tyrannosaurus Rex is a carnivore, which is not a convenient riding animal, because it competes with you for food.
True.
Like
but having dogs as companions has the same problem. They're also carnivores. They'll eat scraps. But I guess
and they're smaller.
Yeah.
So they don't eat as much. Whereas here we have a giant riding animal.
True.
Like a horse is great because he just grazes stuff.
I mean, they're good for herding purposes, because the Stegosaurus and the Triceratops are afraid of the fucker. So they'll just go like, oh shit, there's one of them, and they'll go like,
that is definitely worth the investment. Yeah. No, I think you're right there.
And of course, the Triceratops herds are the desirable ones, but the Stegosauruses also have their benefits. I mean,
we're getting ahead of ourselves here. Let's clue the let's read the synopsis here.
Oh, please do.
Old fossils never die. Aging Brontho herder Blaze Maverick rides into town decades after everybody thought he'd perished in the Great Northern Stampede, and old feuds flare up in the sleepy western town of Butthole, Montana. Sorry, Butthole.
Butthole, Montana, yes.
Not Butthole. That's repeated several times, so apologies if I say the word. And now that I say that, I do wonder, and I have to Google very quickly, whether Butthole, Montana actually exists. And let me just, before we continue the episode, and... No, I think that's a no.
Good.
No. Okay, good. Yes. So, what a funny place name. It probably
Butthole, Montana.
Butthole is it's a fine as a place name. We have weird place names all over. Certainly in the Americas. I mean, I know those very well.
Well, a lot of the weird place names are either named after things going on happening there, or were just like copied badly from European names.
Yeah, true.
Like York, New York. Yeah.
Well, I was thinking like stuff like the Grand Tetons.
Oh, that's
the big boobies.
Oh,
in Spanish. Yeah,
but I mean,
that's a normal thing for mountains to be called.
I was going to say, there's it's like, oh, this one's kind of round and that one's kind of round too. Oh, let's call them boobs. Like, infantile humor through the ages.
I visited Intercourse, Pennsylvania.
Oh, wasn't there a song about that?
Sounds like a bawdy one.
You had a song about this.
Me?
No, well, not you.
Oh, no, yes. I know what you're talking about. Entering Marion.
That's the one, yes.
A John Forster song that was popularized by our very good friend, Cosmic.
Ah, yes, Cosmic, with the K.
His rendition is just sensational. But yeah, that has fun with New England place names. Someone had a lot of fun entering Marion, and then he was entering Beverly, and then
but he ended up entering Marion again, I believe, in the end.
And he found that he's the Marian kind.
Got to bring a song like that to a good climax.
But such is not the case for Blaze Maverick. Like, he is a loner, even before the calamity that took so many of the lives of the young men of Butthole, Montana.
Yes, the Great Northern Stampede of the Triceratops herds.
Yeah.
It was a big thing about 20 years ago, I think.
Yeah.
I want to say it decimated, but
I think that's accurate.
I think it got more than 1 in 10 of the population. More like half of the able-bodied men population perished in that.
Yeah.
When 2 competing driving teams set off a massive stampede, which a lot of people unfortunately perished in that.
Trundle through the town, and some of the young men, including Blaze Maverick, valiantly tried to guide the herd away from like the school and the church, saving them. But in the meantime, they were carried off in the dust. Like, the scars are still felt, and there's still a mural in the town hall depicting the.
Yes.
Yeah, I thought that was
There's a stampede day in which they yes,
which they all confusingly dress up as dinosaurs.
Why do you dress up as dinosaurs when you've got them like all around? I don't get that. If you're living in a cowboy town and you have to deal with dinosaurs every day, all day, then I don't know. I wouldn't like to dress up as a dinosaur on my day off. It's just
well, no comment there, because
just
you're talking about kind of my thing.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So,
I didn't know you dressed. I've never seen. Well, actually, you did try to do that a bit. You were trying to fit in, and like I guess you're not herding the Velibraraptors for food, so this is a different thing.
But at the same, like, now I'm dressing up as a junior librarian. I've got my little tweed romper on. That's still quite comfortable.
Good.
But so this snoozy, sleepy town is suddenly reawakened by the arrival of a strange figure on the horizon.
Yes.
And this
riding his Tyrannosaurus Rex in town,
named Commissar.
Commissar. Okay. Yes. Am I missing something?
Commissar Rex.
Oh God.
Yeah. Several of our 1980s born German readers will probably enjoy that little joke. A very narrow casting at a specific audience that I don't even know if they know that this.
Rex. No, I like
Commissar Rex was a television program, but I think it was a dog, a police dog who solved crimes.
I don't think I've actually watched any of it.
No, same. I just know it like conceptually. I don't know that I've seen an episode of either Flipper or Skippy. I know one theme tune, but I don't know whether it's Flipper, or Skippy. Well, no, it wouldn't be Flipper the bush kangaroo. Flipper. No. Oh, well,
that's the Flipper.
Yeah. Oh, okay, so we know that one in Dutch. Good Lord. Oh, I wish that there was a movie version of Two Tiny Claws, because can you imagine what the opening theme tune would be like? Like, that song must be so good. The Ballad of the Dinosaur. Can you imagine how much fun one would have with all those dinosaur puns?
Yeah, I mean, I suppose they could get a lot of mileage out of that.
Oh, I wonder if any of our readers at home are up to the challenge. Let's find out later. But in the meantime, he rides into town, and people are leaning out of their shuttered windows
seeing what this stranger is who is coming in. And he's not recognized at first, because it's like, one, everybody thinks he's dead, and two, he's 20 years older than he used to be.
And a lot of people who would have recognized him are also dead 20 years. Yeah, but it's Blaze Maverick who hitches his Tyrannosaurus Rex Commissar at the post outside the saloon, and waddles inside. I mean, when you have an animal like that, you don't exactly like swagger after that. You sort of penguin waddle.
I suppose, yes. I never really considered that. But
yeah, so it's not as cool as the regular like bow-legged cowboy stance.
I guess that's why they sit so high up, so that the legs are more around the neck rather around the flanks, because that's going to be like an awful
you've got to kind of cinch them as well.
Judging from the pictures, I guess a lot of the steering goes on by pushing against its arms, because like there's no bit or bridle. I mean, there's a rope around its neck, which is probably for like pulling and like stop now. But I guess the impression is that rather than using stirrups, they put their
you nudge the little arms,
their feet against the shoulders, and they go like this way, that way.
Yep. Headcanon accepted. So he walks into the saloon and orders himself a pint of steg, which, like, it's not really identified, but it's clearly a Stegosaurus product, and it's sort of golden and yellow and astringent. So I think
let's not go there. Like, I mean,
it
could
seems
just
to
be a brand.
Yeah, let's hope. But that seems to be the local liquor. So bottoms up.
A whole pint of it seems a bit excessive, but yes.
On the one hand, you have to water it down, because otherwise the taste is too intense. Because you do want all the goodness.
Are you sure it's not fermented and distilled?
Ah, that's probably it. But then a whole pint is still...
Especially if it's distilled, that would be like... I mean, it's definitely not a shot of whiskey that you'd be doing.
Well, that's what's in the book. I don't know what to tell you, Kay.
I know,
you read it as well.
I know.
So we can
I guess I glossed over that passage.
Yes.
And I mean, stegosauruses are tricky animals. You know, they've got the thagomizer at the end.
That's right.
Yes.
You told me about that once. How does that go again? Because they're the spiky animals, and
Right at the end, they've got like
plates.
something like 5 to 7 spikes sticking out of the back of their tail. And it's called a thagomizer.
And why is it called a thagomizer?
It's called a thagomizer because of a Gary Larson cartoon. In which there is a bunch of cavemen sitting in front of a chart in which is depicted the tail end of a stegosaurus.
Right.
With the spiky bit sticking out. And there's another caveman standing there in front of it holding a stick and pointing at it. And you have to beware, most beware of the thagomizer named after the late Thag Simmons.
Yes.
Now, this was just a Far Side cartoon that he wrote. And then I think it was a custodian at the Smithsonian realized that they didn't actually have a name for that thing and started using it. And the rest of the scientific community just rolled with it. So it's now actually called the thagomizer, thanks to Larry Narth.
and thus the sacrifice of Thag Simmons is immortalized.
Yeah, so you kind of have to be careful if you want to milk a stegosaurus. I guess they don't lactate.
Drain a steg.
Drain the steg. Oh.
Yeah, moving on. Yes. So he's served at the bar by Zane Desperado.
Yeah.
Who recognizes his childhood friend immediately. Zane Desperado, of course, having once been a dino rustler himself, but he's got a trick leg now after the Great Northern Stampede. And he's astonished to see a ghost from his past, looking a little worse for wear for 20 years of age. But Blaze, what are you doing here?
And he goes like, I'm having a steg.
You want a steak? I can get you a steak. Do you want Stegosaurus steak? Or with it? Yeah, it goes like that a lot.
Yes.
The typical Montanan accents are not kind to comprehension. When the local lexicon has so much confusion in it. Like the steg and steak are very close together, and this happens all the time. The stakes are pretty low. The stakes are pretty low. Because, I mean, by the time that someone offers you like a tasty Brontosaurus steak...
Yes.
Like that's not bad. Like, I'll have one.
Oh, as opposed
I was thirsty, but I'll have a drink with it as well.
Fair enough. And as opposed to the time when the Brontosaurus horde got into the marijuana field, and then the stakes were very high.
Yeah. Yes. Talk about your tumbleweed.
Yeah. So when he's sitting in the bar and he mentions his name, then someone else in the bar who's sitting there at the end, ears pick up. It's one of the Pickett's family. In this case, Silas Pickett, who recognizes the name of their old family feud.
Because the Pickettses are the proprietors of the local potato mine.
Yeah.
One of the major economic centers of an area where, cattle ranching, of course, how most people subsist, but the major economic centers come from exploitation. So in this case, the potato mining.
And of course, the ranchers have big issues with the potato miners because of all the effluent which gets dumped out of the mine.
Naturally.
And it poisons the water, and it sours the herds, and it's left in the middle whether or not this is bullshit or not, but it's like definitely still enough to
Well, the Picketts certainly think that it is, and they certainly like quell any dissent, and the long-suffering Sheriff Chan Kong Sang shows up, who long has had to...
Sorry, I had to laugh. I tried to laugh and yawn at the same time, and that did not work for me.
I think I've got a cramp in my jaw now.
For the readers at home, that was just a very fun face that Kay pulled there. But yes, Sheriff Chan Kong Sang, who kept the peace previously between the Pickettses of the potato mine and the Maverickses, who ran the cubic zirconia mine. Yeah. This was a very well-written book.
Yes.
He sees his old nightmares resurface, that he has to keep these families at bay.
Our titular, not our titular hero, but the hero of the book, he was like the kingpin in the feud back in the day.
Well, he was the favourite son. He was set to inherit it, but since then his family has been almost entirely obliterated.
Yes, having him disappear during the stampede was
very convenient for the Pickettses. Yeah.
Yes, there's some like catching up with his old friend, and where have you been? Oh, here and there, and what you've been doing? Well, this and that. And Silas runs off to meet with his brothers, Brock and Flint, who rode into town and like frantic talk.
But Flint and Brock, they're not inclined to put up with this interference and to risk the reopening of the cubic zirconia mine.
Yeah, I mean, they're gonna is he going to claim his inheritance? What's his plan?
Not if we have anything to say about it. Say Flint and Brock, and they drag the much more timid Silas back to the saloon, weapons slung low on their hips. And it's such a classic, like, this town ain't big enough for the both of us, and you see Sheriff Chan Kong Sang unholstering his weapon, and now, boys, we'll have no trouble here.
Yes, whilst the barkeeper Zane and his wife hurriedly remove the mirror from the back of the
Peggy Lee.
Oh yes, Peggy, good old Peggy.
Yeah, Peggy Lee.
Peggy Lee. Sorry, I'm sorry. Yes,
exactly.
Quickly try to remove the big mirror from the back of the bar and to preserve
Not again.
the case, like, not the mirror.
That's the last inheritance that I have from my mother, Lobelia Lee, and it's going to be the heirloom that I pass down to my daughter Hyacinth Lee.
All right, it's the Lees,
or perhaps that's just girl's name, or Hyacinth Lee, like this is just Murgatroyd Lee. Do you know how I thought this would get more of a rise out of it?
It's going over my head, I'm afraid.
Southern belle names, and you have the Annabelle Lee, and you have the Jamie Lee, and it's all these Lee as a weird.
I never noticed that.
Women's middle name.
Maybe it's just because they have poor grammar.
What?
Oh, damn it! Shit! I feel how does it go again?
If it's going to be abusive towards some of our Southern American
it's
listeners,
absolutely not. No, it's like they go like, okay, I really need that bat, Lee. could be become a little family affectation at that point. I mean, back in the day, I thought that was the pet name of my then boyfriends. Like, I had that badly. It's like,
oh, that's cute. So predictably, there's a bit of a dust up. Chairs are flung. The pianola is crashed into.
Yeah, I don't know how he managed to throw a pianola. I mean, that's like. I mean, either Mr. Davis doesn't know what a pianola is, or I don't. But it's not something you generally see flying through the air in a bar room.
No, but it made for cool imagery.
It did, especially the little punch card rolling out from underneath the little swinging doors of the saloon. And it's, again, a very cinematic description of the scene, but it's.
I want to see a movie of this.
They can use the Jurassic Park models, I suppose.
Yeah,
it's like 90% of the work's already done. You just have to reanimate it. Although I guess riding the dinosaurs might be. Oh, there's some of that. In Jurassic
Reanimating the dinosaurs is probably the harder part.
Well, okay, yes.
You get it?
No, I don't.
Reanimation from the dead.
Oh, God, yes, no, I get it.
We're doing great. This is one of those great episodes where we're totally on the same wavelength. I'm loving it. Now, the big question on everybody's mind is where he's been. So, in the middle of this Montanan standoff in the saloon of Butthole.
Thank you
Butthole,
very much.
Montana, yeah. He tells his story. He was found after the Great Northern Stampede by members of the local Native American population, the Piikani, known to the Europeans as the Blackfoot or the Blackfeet.
I didn't know they were hobbits.
No. Oh, there's various theories, like they had like ceremonial fires that they'd run over, and maybe it was soot on their feet, or maybe they were black leather soles on their shoes. Who knows? But like the proper term is the Amskapi Piikani. It's a tribe that extends all the way up into Alberta, as many of these people's territories always did.
They don't carry about the 38th parallel.
Certain treaties that seemed to be important at one point, and then the American government and Canadian governments didn't always prioritize them.
No, there's like unfortunately a long tradition of treaty breaking.
But so this is one of those stories where he is adopted into the tribe and nursed back to health and raised in their ways.
He knew about the feud, and he realized that he was like probably better off like not coming back.
Yeah, assuming that his family was all deceased.
Yeah, I mean, he saw some of his brothers and sisters being run over by the
being trampled by the trikes.
Might as well stay dead and like stop the feud from happening
and live a more fulfilling life among the Piikani until he was he's kind of discreet about it. He tries to present it as a more philosophical sort of creative difference and parting of the ways, but I believe it's quite clear that he was ejected. So the Amskapi Piikani, their name refers to, like, I believe it means scabby robes, which you think is insulting, but it's not an insulting. It's like Inuit or something. I believe it was eaters of raw meat. Like some of those were epithetical names, but this is just like untanned hides were used, and it was sort of like a
smelly, isn't it?
Yeah, but that was sort of like a war name, possibly like a terrifying attire. But so these Piikani, the scabby robes, rebranded our hero as Scabby Hood, which I think suggests that maybe he introduced STDs in their population. After a 20-year epidemic, they finally realized, it has been you.
Oh, this was clearly not Jewish then.
Off you go. Off you go.
I don't think it makes much of a difference at that point anymore, but
Still, responsibility where it's due, and he's just been kicked out, and he's looking to find a place to live.
the bar fight goes on, and after the combatants are hanging over the bar panting, and he's like, "Why are you even back? Why did you come back?" And he says, "I just want the old farm. I just want to live there. I don't want to rekindle the old frog pond feud. I just want to sit there and instead of herd dinosaurs, I want to raise frogs and start a little frog leg restaurant here in town." At which point the pickets go "We love frog legs. We can't get them to breed here thanks to the turns out the potato mine effluent, but
apparently cubic zirconia was pretty good for the local soil, and these problems very quickly resolved themselves in an incredibly amiable fashion.
Yes.
The closing scene is a big old hoedown,
especially with Montana and Dakota, who are the biggest hoes on the town.
Oh my god. No. I think there's even more hoes. A Striker Renegade was one of my favorite hoes.
Lobelia was a bit of a hoe as well, as I seem to recall.
She's an octogenarian, but yes, she got around.
Back in the days.
She was a madam running her house where Striker Renegade works and Cane Raider. See, you'd think that these were cowboy names, but no these were all the gigolos and Toy Rampage and Skylar Outlaw.
It just sounds a bit like
Falcon Studios.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, it does kind of, doesn't it? I'm sure that Mr. Brett Davis thought that he was writing down really cool cowboy names, but he was writing male porn star names.
Especially Johnny Five Shot, who is also from that.
And
renowned for his ability to reliably produce.
He's very quick on the reload, our Johnny Five Shot, but I think he even also provides us with what is normally our biggest challenge. How do we rate this book out of Johnny's 5 shots? How do we rate Two Tiny Claws by Brett Davis? Because I think it was a masterpiece.
It was great. I mean, I would personally give it 4 out of 5 shots, I suppose.
I'm totally down with 4 out of 5 shots of steg, whatever that is.
Yes, let's go with that.
So what do we have in store for our readers next week?
Yes, next week's book is by Lieutenant General Baden Powell.
Ooh.
Scouting for Boys.
No, that about covers it. Thank you for joining us at Cover My Ass, where baffling books are reviewed, but that one's not read.
Next week's book.
By yours truly. My name is Khaki.
And I'm Kay, and remember, we only judge a book by its cover.
Yeehaw! Get along, little boy.
Light them up, round them up, shoot them down, flying steak. I don't know. Yes.